You did over 400 grand in your first 10 months. What about your first like 12 months, first year? Do you know what that number is?
About 530,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. I don't know exactly. I think it's around there though.
Yeah, close enough. It's a big number. It's super impressive.
Yeah.
How can someone go like? There's so many agents watching this, man. They're gonna be like, dude, I can write 53,000 in my first 12 months. Okay, and this Shawn guy is writing, who's you guys are gonna keep watching and learning from too, because he's a killer, is doing 530,000 in 12 months. How were you able to jump into an industry? Yes, sales background. Yes, business background. Yes, successful, and add it to a busy life and just figure it out and write a lot more than most agents ever do in a year in your first year. Hey, welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. Today's guest, let me give you the rundown, man. Like, I'm excited for this, okay? In Omaha, Nebraska, his first 10 months in insurance, qualified for Hall of Fame, writing over $400,000 in his first 10 months, by the way, okay? Serial entrepreneur, investor, successful business owner, owns 6 businesses, previously in real estate and wholesaling and flipping, and still involved in those things, has always done sales, and I think has always succeeded everything he's touched. Maybe he'll disagree. Please welcome Shawn Simpson.
Thanks, Cody. Thanks for having me.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you being here. So when you hear this intro, you're like, okay, this cat just knows how to win at business and life. Has that always been the case?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No way. I had to go through a learning curve as well. Early in my career, I started in door-to-door sales. And that was probably the biggest learning curve I ever had because I was an introvert. I didn't have very many friends in high school. And when I learned about door-to-door sales, I only did it because of the money.
Yeah.
Cash every day. At that time, 30 years ago, $300 a day was a good chunk of change for a 20-year-old.
That's great money.
And so I kind of pushed myself to do it. But I kept telling myself, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I'm not even going to do this next year. I just want to make a ton of money and then get out of it. Well, little did I know it was pretty hard to learn how to do sales, right? Especially going door to door. So I forced myself to do it. I forced myself to learn all the things that you have to learn to go door to door, what to say, how to say it, when to say things, and brought me to where I'm at today. And
what did you sell when you started out selling door to door?
Steaks, chicken, and seafood.
Wow. Isn't that what Jordan Belfort started out like? He had like a whole
I think so. I knew he sold something door to door, and I can't remember what it was, but it might have been steaks, chicken, and seafood.
There's somebody that was a speaker at 8% that had like a whole no, it's a buddy of mine named Jeremy. Yeah, he had like a meat company with a bunch of trucks, and you got to sell it. Like
that's the way I started out, and then I opened my own meat company with a bunch of trucks.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome. Yeah. How was that transition of going through? I'm looking to tag you on Instagram as we're chatting. How was that transition of like going from, dude, I really just want to make some money. I want to get paid every day. I want to sell. I want to learn this thing. I'm an introvert, to the vision of like succeeding at sales, and then I want my own operation?
So it became apparent to me that I started to get pretty good at it. Right. Yep. And then when my family started coming to me saying, hey, can you help me go buy this car? I want to get the best deal possible. That's kind of a confirmation that, hey, you're pretty good at it, right? When your friends come to you and said, hey, can you help me negotiate with this guy to get the price down on this car? That's kind of a confirmation right there. So I just kept getting better. And then I got promoted to manager a few different times, to open up different offices throughout the country. And then from there, I just kind of perfected my craft. And then I got hurt. And I decided, I got in a bad car accident. I got rear-ended by 2 cars. Had to have surgery. That's why I got the scar right here. You can't quite see it now, but
no.
Had to have a disc removed. And because of that, I couldn't get in and out of the truck anymore. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to open up my own company. I'm going to train some people on how to do this. And I'm going to teach some other people how to be successful and make some money as well.
Yeah, totally. And how did that grow? Like you own your, you opened your own thing. What was the success of that? And then also kind of like take us from where you were to like present day.
So from there, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was in it for 16 years and I only opened up my own business because I wanted to make some money still. And I didn't know where to go at that point in time.
Yeah.
And I knew a settlement was coming. And so I decided that, it was going to take a couple of years for that settlement to come. So I figured I need to get some education, and a job came up with Sears to where I could sell windows, doors, siding, heating, and air conditioning.
Mm.
And so I kind of took that job and I learned a whole new craft, but I was still selling. People were setting appointments for me. I would go in the house. I would sit there for 2.5 hours, do a whole long presentation on how to, selling them, windows or selling them siding, that kind of thing. And got pretty good at that. And then I got my settlement and I'm like, you know what? My wife and I prayed about it. We thought about it. And we said, we can go buy a house. We can go buy a car. We can go buy some education that would help us, further our career. And so I bought some education to learn how to invest in real estate. So I started wholesaling. From there, I became the #1 wholesaler in Omaha for a period of time. Then I started to buy my own houses and rehab them after I got some money in. And then I took the rehab and I would either sell it. I started selling it at first, but then I started to buy them and then sell them to an entity that I had, or I would sell them to an entity that my business partner had. And then from there, we just started to rehab houses and create rental properties from there.
Yeah.
Then I opened up a construction company to do the same thing.
It's awesome.
I figured I'm not going to just pay some other construction company. Why not just pay myself?
Yeah, totally. And I think you mentioned you got like, 50 homes throughout the different companies and deals and everything else.
About that. Yeah. We've sold a couple of them, acquired new ones. So somewhere around there.
That's awesome though. I mean, like that's, we'll have to talk offline because that's a one industry that intrigues me a lot. We're starting to buy some duplexes and invest in real estate. And it's like something that I'm really starting to nerd out in because it's just such a way to build wealth and take cash flow from insurance, invest it in real estate that pays you forever and, grows your net worth and saves you some money in taxes, which doesn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't earn too much money from real estate. That's kind of my retirement income. So I leave that for when I get older. I'm still young enough to make money. So
that's right, man.
I'm pushing hard to make money. That's why I kind of went into the insurance business.
Yeah. So what was it about insurance? Like, it's not sexy. It's not, like career day. I want to do this kind of thing. Like, what was it about? And it should be more really when you look at the actual success people can have and the amount of difference it can make. Like people, young kids should be paying attention to it really. But what was it about insurance that got your attention?
Well, the commission level can be pretty high depending on the IMO that you're with. That really intrigued me. The renewals, long-term gains where I can, build a team and build an agency and receive, overrides off of that. And then bonuses and long-term benefits, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I got into it. It's a whole nother stream of income. As I researched it, the financial services industry is the industry that makes people the most money quickest.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. There's more millionaires in financial services than any other industry in the world. Like,
even real estate.
Yeah, which is sick. I would have never guessed that years ago. Obviously found that out, but it's awesome. You did over 400 grand in your first 10 months. What about your first 12 months, first year? Do you know what that number is?
About 530, somewhere around there. I don't know exactly. I think it's around there though.
Yeah, close enough. It's a big number. It's super impressive.
Yeah.
How can someone go, like, there's so many agents that are watching this, man. They're gonna be like, dude, I can't write 53,000 in my first 12 months. Okay. And this Shawn guy is writing, who's you guys are going to keep watching and learning from too, because he's a killer, is doing 530,000 in 12 months. How were you able to jump into an industry? Yes, sales background. Yes, business background. Yes, successful, and add it to a busy life and just figure it out and write a lot more than most agents ever do in a year in your first year?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know anything about insurance when I got in this business, right? So I took a learning curve that most people drag out to be, a year. And
Yes,
they say, you know what? Most people that come into this business, I'm finding out, have jobs, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had another business at the time that I was fully into, right? My rental properties, they don't really take too much of my time. They take a little bit because we got to, keep up with our property managers, that kind of thing. But
yeah,
I was really looking for properties all the time, talking to people all the time, making offers all the time. So that was kind of my full-time job, my full-time business. And so it's kind of the same concept as somebody that has a job. But what I did was I said, okay, when I took a look at this, I said to myself, what is my return on investment for time? Right? Because I didn't have much time. And I figured if I were to put the time and effort into this, what's it going to look like in 5 years? Right. And so I kind of mapped it out, and I figured, in 5 years, if I were to have a whole nother stream of income that I can, passive income that I can retire from, why not put as much time in it as I possibly could? So eventually transitioning out of the other business, I still do it, but I don't do it as much anymore. But I had to transition because at the very beginning, I was probably working 4 to 6 hours a day. But during that 4 to 6 hours a day, I was learning, right?
Yeah.
I had to get my license first, but then I had to learn the processes. And so I took that learning curve and I was like, you know what? I want to get to 100 presentations as soon as possible. How do I do that? So I reached out to my manager all the time, asked them questions, and they were very, very, very helpful to, answer any questions that I had.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that since I was asking questions, that I was somebody that really wanted to learn. You get those people that come in and they ask a question like once a month, and it's like, okay, they really don't want to learn. If they do, they want to drag that out over a year or 2 years, right? I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in taking that learning curve and making it 30 days if possible. And so that's what I did. I did exactly what my manager told me to do. I called leads. People didn't pick up the phone. People spit on me through the phone. People hung up on me. But I just kept going, and I figured I'm going to figure this out. And as soon as I figured it out, then you start to build a routine. Then you start to build a batting average. Then you start to build a ratio. Then from that ratio, you can tweak it a little bit and say, okay, I'm better doing this. And let me work on that and focus on that. That's going to produce more income for me. I started to focus more on money-making activities.
100%. You also don't strike me as someone, this is phenomenal information, by the way, so thank you. This is great. Our audience is going to love this. Also, as you guys are listening, man, like, throw in comments below, like, dude, Shawn, I love it, or hey, I got a question, or I'm curious, right? Like, I'm telling you, this is a cat to definitely learn from and get some help from. You strike me as somebody that when you enter an industry, a lot of people, if they have business success, or they were successful in a different industry, or they were successful at car sales or whatever, they want to come in and like take what they did and apply it to this. But you seem like someone that probably didn't want to reinvent the wheel and was just like asking a bunch of questions like, okay, what are success people doing? And I'm just going to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you speak to that? Because so many agents are just like trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with new ideas and new stuff all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be humble and hungry, right? Because the reality of it is I have over 30 years of sales experience, but I could bring that to the table. But there's also, things that you forget over time. I always tell people I got a great memory. It's just short, right? And that's the reality. I mean, you have concepts that you use, and all sales processes are all the same pretty much, right? But the only thing that's different is the product. And so I didn't know much about the product, but one of the sales processes is building the value of the product, right? And if you don't know anything about the product, how are you supposed to build the value of it, right? That's just one aspect of it.
Good point.
So who do you learn from? You learn from social media. You learn from, your manager. But if you're not in tune to in wanting to learn from them, how are you supposed to get better, right? You're just using your own head, right? If you're not humble enough to say, you know what, I need to learn, how are you supposed to learn?
True.
So that's what I did. I just reached out to my manager. I searched on YouTube. I just took any information that I could, and I applied it. And I said, okay, I like that little nugget. I'm going to use that. I like that. I'm going to use that. And so doing that over time, it just, with one focus that no matter what happens each day, I'm going to become better, 1% better than I was, the day before. If I can do that each day, you're 365% better,
Yeah, that's a big increase.
And even if you fall back, take a step back a day or two, right? What if you take a step back one day? Every other day, you're still 150+% better, right? As long as you're moving forward a little bit every single day.
Yeah, it's a good point. How long did it take for it to click for you, where you're like, oh, dude, I got this?
Well, again, it all came to fruition when I figured out, the rhythm, right? Set appointments. And at that time I was doing in-homes. Now I'm doing telesales because I don't want to drive all over the city and, waste gas, that kind of thing, when I can do the same thing just over the phone and talk to more people. But
true.
It took, to answer your question, Cody, it took about a month. And the reason why it took that is because I shortened that learning curve down again. I took it down to getting in as many houses as I possibly could. Because, and I knew that if I could get in as many houses as I possibly could, that I was going to learn what to do and what not to do. I mean, this business is super simple. People complicate it, right?
Yeah,
but what's simple to do is also simple not to do, right? And so I set my schedule and I said, okay, I'm going to work this, and I'm going to work it every single hour that I dedicated to it. And if I got 5 minutes left in that hour that I said I was going to work, and I get 15 phone calls that hang up on me, I'm still dialing. I'm not giving up. Right. So I was dedicated to learning. I was dedicated to myself to make sure that I was going to succeed in this business. And then all of a sudden, I helped one family, and then I helped another family. And then from there, you help 2 or 3 families, and you're like, okay, I got it. Now, how do I make it better? You just like it.
Yeah. And you were obviously doing face-to-face. Now you're doing phone telesales.
Yeah.
Are you one-call closing? Are you booking Zooms? Are you booking phone appointments? Like, talk through your schedule and process a little bit.
So I do a lot of mortgage leads.
Okay.
And then I also supplement with final expense. Okay. So in the morning, what I'll do, and I also, have more free time now. So I take that white space in my calendar and I work on my business instead of in my business. Right.
Good.
I'm not quite all the way to where all I have to do is work on my business. Right. I'm not there yet. I've only been doing this for a year. I got a long ways to go. Right. But 5 years is my plan, and I think I'll hit it. But to answer your question, in the morning, I call when I get my leads in, I call and I set appointments for the evening for mortgage. With mortgage, we want to make sure that both the husband and wife are there if possible. And so I clear their schedule, set it up to where they're both coming in at, let's say they get in at 6 o'clock. I schedule it for 6:30. Okay.
Cool.
In the meantime, in the free space in between, once I have all my evenings full up, then I'll call final expense and do one-call closes. Cool. I try to do one-call closes whenever I possibly can. If they're not available to do a one-call close at that time, then I'll set an appointment for either, if I have any space at night, I'll set it then, or I'll set it during the day, in the middle of the day, the next day, because I want to save my mornings to do more, mortgage appointments for that evening.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I hear that a lot too with like, okay, I'm book appointments for mortgage, or I'm going to one call close FE, like that seems to be a normal practice, which is good. Right. And is making sense. You also mentioned a couple times, like the 5-year goal, of like where you're going. What is the target? Like where will Shawn Simpson be 5 years, 4 years from now, 5 years in the industry?
That's a great question. My goal is to be doing $1 million a month.
Let's go.
In annual premium.
Let's go. Right? You may get there sooner.
Yeah, I could make it there sooner, but I figure 5 years, if I can't do it in 5 years, something's wrong. I think it's a real obtainable goal. It's not something that's super stretched out there. But in order to do that, I have to have a good number of writing agents to do that, right? And if I have a good number, if I can help 100 writing agents, okay, that are writing policies consistently, doing, $40,000 in annual premium a month, then I don't think I'm going to have a problem getting there.
No, I don't either. Yeah, you're someone that's I've always. Like you can tell you understand business. You're good with people. Like super impressive dude that I've enjoyed getting to know, and that I guarantee you our viewers are going to enjoy getting to know today. If they're like, man, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I need some help. I want to talk to Shawn in some way or whatever. Where should we send them? What should they do?
Yeah, they can call me. My number is 402-253-5774. You can look me up on Instagram. It's _Shawn, SHAWN _Simpson.
That's what I found. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you found. And then you can look me up on Facebook. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. My email is shawnsimpson.ffl@gmail.com. So there's multiple ways to get a hold of me.
I love it.
Reach out. I'm willing to help anybody.
Let's do it, brother. Well, is there anything we have not shared that in closing of this interview that you would like to share in some way?
No, I just love helping people, to be honest with you. I love this business because I think it's the most noblest business in the world, right? Where else can you go out there and protect families from a financial catastrophe and help your own family at the same time? And get paid real well doing it, right? There's so many families out there that need to be helped. They don't know where to turn to. And, I still, every time I help a family get protected, I get a smile on my face and a chill down my spine, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Well, dude, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for being a part of today. And thank you for jumping on the Power Player Podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You got it, brother. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you guys for listening, man. Throw in comments below what you think of today's episode. Ask Shawn some questions. Also reach out, man. His phone number, Instagram, or email. Appreciate y'all hanging out and listening today. And we will see you on the next episode. Adios.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there.
I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel, talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.